6 in the region here, which we're noted to be called the region, which includes Gary, uh, Griffith, Calumet Township. I live in Calumet Township. There's an issue today that is permeating throughout the world with the president discussing global warming and the weather, and that seems to be his agenda instead of what is all the crisis that's going on in the world that is more pertinent to the needs of the people. It boggles the mind that anybody in his circle of committees, the ones that kind of give him the go-ahead sign on things to do, that of all things, instead of the people that are coming and you look into the camera. Someone said, well, I don't watch television. You don't watch television? You don't see the hundreds and thousands as far, it's like tons of little ants as far as the eyes could see, with the people fleeing their countries and with nothing but what they have on their backs and a little bundle that they're carrying, and some are carrying babies. But I noticed that there's a lot of young men, young men. And the reporters that I'm listening to and those that are on the TV stations are discussing the fact that it's carte blanche. They can just come in here. There's two thoughts. No, it's going to take a while because you have to sell, you have to investigate their background, you have to check on their applications, and that may take 2 years. Well, it looks to me like it takes 2 minutes. And here we are with people that are without jobs, people that are with stamps to get food. And now that may go out the window because you're going to have, what, 100,000, 600,000 people coming into the United States here for what? You've got the mentality of these men that are declaring it as we're all Christians and we love each other and we have to be very aware of people's needs, and therefore we have to open up the gates here to the United States, the richest continent there is. And then the reporters, if you listen to and switch your stations, they have different views on how to interpret the whole process of opening up the gates of and allow these people to come here. They're fleeing their own country to come to America, and they have no one that's going to sponsor them, no one that's going to shelter them. Where are you going to put these people, the people of the world that are coming into the United States? Where are you going to house them? Is there anybody asking that question? Are there enough toilets? Are there enough bathtubs? Is there enough food? Are there enough clothing? Is there enough of whatever you need in order to survive? You yourselves, look around. What do you do all day? How do you take care of yourself? How is it that you're going to be able to function for a day, just a day? How are you going to do that? And here we're going to have people that are coming in here. We don't know who they are. We don't know what their backgrounds are. We don't know their party affiliation. We don't know anything about them. Are they coming here with open arms to embrace our country and say, I'm proud to be here, I want to be an American? Are they here to populate the various channels within our borders here and set up a system whereby they outnumber any way that you're going to protect your land and your states and your communities? They're crying about now that we don't have enough policemen now for all the hot spots that they have to be worried about in order that there's going to be an invasion within our own people, within these people that were there in the city there with blockading everything, all the stores in Chicago. They were in the way of people that were going to do Christmas shopping and all. And I keep asking, where do these people, do they have jobs? Do they have any responsibilities that they could just go out on the streets and stay there for hours and sit there with these signs. A lot of them are manufactured signs. Some of them, yeah, they finally got wise. They're made by somebody. Who is orchestrating this? All of a sudden now, you're not going to be able to function with the life that we've always been acclimated to. Now we have, you can't say this, you can't do that, you can't assimilate, you can't assemble, you can't. What the hell's going on here? Who are the mayors? Who are the governors? Who are the public officials that are elected to do the jobs of protecting you and seeking out the benefits of your care? Where are they? You might as well forget the elections. And now we have the major election for the president of the United States. Well, money talks and BS walks, because the people that are really honest to God candidates, and every one of them is, they're going into hock, into thousands, hundreds and thousands of dollars, maybe millions, to run for the office of the president of these United States, which when I say that, I gag. The United States? Are you kidding me? The word united, look it up in your dictionary. What does that stand for? That we're all together. We're all united. No, we're not. We have more foreigners and outsiders in this country than we have the American citizens that are supposed to be the legal occupants of the United States of America. They're coming here with their own agendas. I brought that up on my last show. There's a town in Detroit that is like a community, not a community. It's like almost like a city within a city of the migrants that came from the Middle East. And the young man that only been in his country since 2006, then he became a citizen in 2008, and now he's the mayor of the town. When we say town, darling, they're of their own heritage, they're of their own faith, they're of their own beliefs, their own governmental structure. They've established a country within a state, within a community. And I don't want anybody, and I don't care if you say it, that I'm bigoted, that I have no right to say what I say. Yes, I do. I'm a first generation American, very proud. I adore my country. I love my country. It's not the best, it doesn't afford the best of what I would like to see, but I'm here. And when that generation of the 20s, when the foreign occupants that came here, and I still wonder how those boats could contain all these people, the long journey with the food, the sanitation, how did they make it? How did my dad get here? My mother? What? Not knowing the language, not having anyone to communicate, no one to sponsor them. They just came with a dream. And I will stand firm on this. The generations that came in the 20s and in the 30s and in the 40s, they are the honest to God Americans of this country by initiation of wanting to be here and be a part of it. Although half of them couldn't speak English, and when they did, it was with an accent. But they went and they became citizens and proudly said, I'm an American. And they had a flag. Now they're coming in here and the doors are open. Come here. You don't. If you've got a disease, if you're crazy, if you've got a gun, whatever, it's okay. We need you to come in here. Have any of you stopped to think why they are being allowed and touted that we have to open the doors? We have to let them in here. You know why? Because the ones in Washington, D.C., darling, want to take over and not be American. They're going to be international dictators of the world. They're all together, and all of these are sitting here. And the president is talking not about the problems we're having here. He's talking about environmental issues. God is the only one in the world that allows us to have an environmental atmosphere. The birds, the trees, the clouds, the sun, the rain, the thunders, the whatever. That's dictated by God. And any and all that are in the heavens that are our relatives. They're part of the pack up there. But now you're going to have him worried about environmental conditions. What the hell has that got to do with you able to eat and with you able to sustain yourselves and be able to be warm when it's cold outside and to be able to walk outside when it's a sunshiny day and look out into the atmosphere? That he says now we're worried about the whole environment in front of all these big officials, the kings, the queens, the whatever they are, all there, all real majestic, and we're going to talk about environmental issues. What? You have to be a little bit, no, you have to be off your mental capacity to rationalize. I can't get over this. Not worried about the fact that people here are without jobs, that the jobs are leaving the United States and being put into foreign countries that welcome them because they don't have labor unions. And they need that product and they need whatever they can get because the leaders get rich, not the people. The people that are there, that are the multiple force of the country itself, are treated like a bunch of goddamn goats. Just walk around. It's unbelievable. At my age, what am I, 88, 87, whatever. But the thing of the matter is that I look around how my dad and my mother and all of the so-called honkies, I brought that up. That's what we were called because we didn't speak English, by the Caucasians that were running the jobs, and they were the supervisors and the foremans in the mills and everybody that had a position. You know, they looked down on us. Well, here comes another hunky. That to us, it was an insult. But today they use it now to call us the hunkies. They don't realize that word was used by someone that looked like me. And the people that are coming here from Mexico, those poor, precious people that are being herded to go to vote when they don't know what they're doing in order to keep the party running. Then we got Hillary. Here we got Hillary. In the Democratic Party, and I'm a Democrat, so I'm one of those that speaks my mind. I don't have it branded on my forehead or my rear end. Not where I live. Not where I live. I've got outsiders from Gary controlling what happens in this 5-mile radius. They don't even come here. They don't come here because you know what? Gary gives them the vote. And you're voting for someone that's in Crown Point that basically isn't running your city. You got the mayor, which, by the way, I did call her to thank her for the capacity that she has, the power that building that was going to be put there across from the airport, that it is now not going to be. But guess someone that calls me that was listening to me, she's from Crete, Illinois. She said they're having meetings now to put one over there. So Guantanamo, through the back door, they're going to vacate it, and guess where they're going to put all these derelicts here into our own American soil in these special, what can you call them? They're not jails. Oh God, let's not say jails. They're going to be retreats for them. We're going to put them here so we know where they're at while they're here in the United States. But they're placing them in very strategic places because when the bell goes off that they're going to start coming out of the woodwork to take over our country, which I'm telling you, that's exactly what they're planning to do here. And the officials that you have elected, they don't give a crap about it at all because they think they're going to be survivors. But guess what? They look just like me, so they're going to be a part of the problem too. So right as we speak, that all the president is talking about is environment, pollution, what? What the hell does that have to do with the fact that nobody has a job, that another company is vacating to go to Mexico where they have slave labor? They don't pay taxes. The guys that are running the government, the rich multimillionaire. In Mexico, you're either a multimillionaire or you're nothing. You're a peon. They don't even try to get them to become their own beautiful paradise, of which Mexico is. It's if you think Florida's lovely, go to Mexico. And it's right adjacent. So here's this little old lady that someone says, "Are you sure you know what you're saying?" I says, "Well, I could cop up by saying I'm a little old. Maybe I'm a little senile. But again, don't count on it. Do not count on it." That border in Mexico, if I was running the game, if I was in a power, I would cut down that fence. I would do one better than Mr. Trump. I wouldn't put it up, Mr. Trump. You are a businessman. You don't have billions of dollars because you're dumb. Sometimes you talk like you are, but you're a sly fox, man. To be where you are, no, you just don't know how to, stroke people. You've never done that. You're of the adage, you hit hard, but you get it accomplished. I'd rather deal with you because I know exactly where I stand than someone that's got that smile and, oh, let me take care of you. I know what I'm doing. Well, what the hell do I know what you're doing? Because it's not for me. So I don't trust you for nothing as far as I can spit on you. But right now, this whole war that we're into with these indigents, these people that are all in black with the black flags, where do they go at night? Do they have a bed? Do they have a kitchen so they can make a meal? Do they have a toilet so they can pee in it? They're destroying everything. Everything is rebels. So where do they go now when they have to rest? And you know who they are? They're 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old. They're young punks. Young punks that are destroying everything in this country. And now you're going to open the doors and let them in here. Yeah, I see a lady with a baby and I see some young little kids and all that. But look in the background. Look in the back. Who are they? These are the thugs. These are the guys that probably have a black hanky stuck in their pocket and then they'll put it across their face when the war starts, because we're going to have a war in this country. I'm not one of these crazy ladies that just says it and doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about. I read papers. I read 4 papers. I read them. I trust the reporters. You just pick out the reporter that's giving you the mush, and then you give the one that's giving you the real deal. That's who I am. I'm the real deal. WLTH was on there for 11, 12 years. Now that I have a responsibility with Lana, because she's going through a trial of cancer and all that comes with it, which many of you that are out there have that in your families with problems of illnesses and taking care of your loved ones. Well, that's my responsibility since God knows how long. But so I'm not on the WLTH, which Marion, the owner, one of the owners called me, and he wanted to, very gentle, very lovely man, said that he would like for me to come back and be on the program that they're initiating, but it would be from 6 to 8 or something, since I can't drive because of this cataract, which I'm going to get rid of as soon as my doctor comes back from Europe. It's an impairment, but I have to take care of that and get it done. But the idea that right now, as I read these papers and I'm watching the news, and I look at the president, he's getting a little thin. I've been noticing him when you start showing you when his hair was black and then he was a little thicker in the face. Now the hair is white and he's a lot thinner. But all he wants to talk about is environment, the clouds, the air, the birds, the bees. Where in the hell does that come into our time here when there are wars? People without jobs. Then he tells everybody that, the economy is great. The economy is great. And the clowns that he has in his cabinet, This one guy that keeps rubbing his face. He's always rubbing, bald with glasses. Everything is rosy. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you, the Democratic Party now is flooded with multi-billionaires and millionaires. It's not for the working class that were denoted in the times that my parents came and in the Second World War. Now, go check into them. All their connections as congressmen, as senators, as representatives, they're millionaires. They have homes here. They have airplanes. They have everything. And the clown that goes out there, and he's the tall guy that's like 6'6". He's over there. He's the guy that's the one that's going to settle the whole problem. That man is married to the richest lady in the world. He had a boat that was so big, and then he didn't pay taxes or whatever the fees are. He had to park somewhere until finally someone got a hold. That's because of this screen. There's nothing you could hide from anybody. Not a damn thing. And cell phones. So he wasn't paying any rental fee for parking that big old boat that he had out there. It's like a building. But he's a negotiator to negotiate with the people that are over there in the Middle East. He's the one that has the silver tongue, and he's got the magic, and he's got all of this that is going to clear up our country and keep us safe. Really? To me, he's nothing. And I don't want anybody to say to Valia, you're not a Democrat. Like I said, I don't have it branded here on my rear end. I'm an American. And again, our flag is being burned and shattered and destroyed in public places in America. I would have that person's ass in jail in 5 minutes, man. And then you know what? He would be sentenced, and I've said it before, he'd be in jail for 2 years for desecrating the symbol of our freedom and our country for which it stands for everybody. Everybody. But now the everybody's are coming here to be somebody, but they don't want to be Americans. They just want to have the luxury of the space we afford them. And we're not going to check into their backgrounds. We're not going to, in my mother's day, I'll tell you, in those old days, they checked on you. If you just had a sore or something, they deported you back where you come from. Now they're walking in here, no health checks as to what you're bringing into the country. And you look, there's a sea of young guys, all these young guys. Yeah, you see the woman, you see the babies, you see the little kids. It's like a stage production from Hollywood. Because someone said, oh, I see a lot of kids. I see, what? You got to look to the background, babies. Go check around. And you're going to say, oh, they have a right to come to the United States. That's what our country was founded on. No, it wasn't. That was then, not now. When they came here to establish the United States, they left with a fervor of creating a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You got that? For all. Does anybody know that phrase? Can you repeat it? And these young people in college now, they're over there stomping around like you can't come in here, and you can't. All of them, the majority of them don't even belong here. They're from foreign countries affording themselves an education here on your dime. They're getting grants. Your kids have to pay, you have to pay your kids' tuition. Or they have to do, like my granddaughter, she has to work and try to pay it off herself. Do they come there with that attitude? Hell no. Our country has become like the days of Babylon. There's going to be a crisis to end all the crisis. And let me tell you, because of what is going on in this country. The clowns that we have in government in Washington, D.C., they're not even clowns, because clowns are, they make you laugh and enjoy something. Those that are there, they're there forever because they are bankrolled by big businesses that said, I want this law passed to benefit my country, my benefit here, my company, my big enterprise. You're going to pass this law. You're going to do this because those Guys come in there with those big black suitcases full of money that doesn't tell you it's coming from Africa, from London, from the Netherlands. It's American green. And then when you go check their background, go see all the palatial homes they have, the yachts. They got a vacation home here, they got a home here, they got a home there. That's your senators. Those are your representatives. Those are your big guys that are supposed to take care of us, like a guard our benefits to be solid so that we're treated with respect. It's time, you know what I'm all for? Every state to secede from the union and take care of themselves. You don't have to have Washington, D.C. tell you what the hell to do here in Indiana. We've got brilliant people in Indiana. We've got great people with a great deal of enterprise, and they have the dollars and they have the know-how. And we should take care of ourselves in Indiana. The hell with this thing with Washington, D.C. Who's representing Indiana? You got the D's and the R's. Now you got the I's. I's, not this. I's. These are I's. No, it's the I's. Independent. Then what the hell are they doing there if they're independent? You don't represent anybody. You don't the R, you don't represent the D. You're just independent. To do what? Reading these papers, I'm one, thank God I don't get headaches. Thank you, Jesus, if there's something, knock on wood. But when I get through with the paper, I sit there and I get like tight in the chest because I do have a problem with that. And I'm going, am I the only one that's reading this and I'm getting upset about this? Or is there, what is it? And someone said to me, well, Valia, I don't read the paper. I just use the computer. But what does she do on the computer? She plays bridge. She plays cards. She looks at fashions. But news, when I mentioned something about what happened yesterday or 2 weeks ago, how do you know that? And I said, what do you mean, how do I know that? I read it in the paper. Didn't you watch it on the news? Oh, I don't watch the news. That is 85% of our citizenry in this country. And here's a first generation Spaniard American, because now they say Afro-American, Spaniard American, Greek American, Slovak American. When you come into this country, baby, you're an American. And that's one thing that Goldie said. She said that, I'm American. I don't like some of her style, but I'll tell you, when she said that, she's my queen. When you come to this country, you are an American with a heritage of whatever country you come from. Never lose that. And that's another thing, because I say I'm a Spaniard. Who hears that word anymore? No one hears that. If you're not Mexican or Puerto Rican or something, I don't exist. That's the way it is. I've been told that. It says, oh, you were the conquerors. You were the ones this. I said, hey, I'll tell you what. You could have talked Polish. You could have talked something else. But it just happened to be that's the way it worked. So now we find ourselves with discrimination. You can't say anything. We're going to be now, the President of the United States now has eliminated geographic words you can't say, adjectives you can't use, nouns you can't use. Here's a young man that basically had another name, Barry Soetoro. The name of his stepfather, of his American mother, Stanley Dunham. That was his mother's name, Stanley. Stanley was her father's name, so she called herself Stanley. Then he was raised in Hawaii for years, went to college. He spent a majority of his life was outside of America. But now he's an American. Now he's diehard Chicago American. And I'm not being disparaging. It's just no one's got balls enough to say it. I've talked to people that know his history. But guess what? God, if they said anything, they think like their jaws are going to fall apart. Why is it that we sit here and we are being told what to do like a dictator from Washington, D.C., walking around, man. Here we are. You're going to do what I say. What? You never ran the streets. You didn't go to Frabel School. You were raised outside of this country. Part of our country, because it was Hawaii. Now, all of a sudden, you don't want to talk about the bad guys. We're going to talk about the weather, the environmental issues of the world. When people now are struggling to exist in this country because there are no more factories, there's no more stores. The little stores, grocery stores we used to have on each, wherever the congregation of people were, the Polish people, they had their store. Spaniards had their store. The Greeks had their store. We created our own little communities within the community of Gary, Indiana, which was going to have a detention center of people that basically should be in Guantanamo, but they're sticking them here. And that lady that called me from Crete, Illinois, if there's anybody that's hearing me, and I understand not everybody could hear me, start checking into every single city in these United States where they're trying to initiate these little detention communities for these heathens, these criminals, basically. They're criminals that we're going to sit here and feed them, clothe them, medicate them, and give them quiet, peaceful time to wait till they can spring when someone says, that's the day. When the gong goes, you know, when the Wall Street guy rings that bell, oh, now we're open for business. They're placing them like that one there near Gary, the airport. Wouldn't that have been wonderful? The day whoever is going to dictate this, and he may look like me and you and be American for all we, maybe it isn't a foreign extraction. He's one of us, supposedly, who chooses now to be the dictator of the world. Now we're concerned about whether they like us here, they like you there. And I keep hearing, we don't have the statue, we don't have the charisma, we don't have the focus of what America was. You know why? Check it out in Washington, D.C., baby cakes. There's your problem. There's your breeding plant for the destruction of our country, right there, Washington, D.C. The elected officials that you are trusting to take care of business within your state, within your own town, within your own city. They're multimillionaires, folks. The Democratic Party was for the poor and the indigent and the people that came here looking for freedom and the will to be something. None of them are poor. Not a damn one of them. They all have their hand into any business, anything. That's why they're there. Basically, it's bribery. You know what bribery is? When you bribe somebody to have them do something, and there is a something that you can't put your finger on. For some reason, I'm trying to, it says here, stop the broadcast. So maybe now I can't continue because there's something going on with our lines in this area here. We're going into underground cables for our AT&T. And I've been having trouble from the day they started it, which is now going to be 3 weeks. And then I demanded that I wanted my line to be as it was before. I didn't want this situation to be as it was. So now my phone, but I still hear the clicking. I still hear it clicking on my phone. It doesn't cut out on me, but I still hear it. So right as we speak, and all that I am saying here, I say with my heart. I don't have any hidden agendas. They're all out there. And anyone that knows me knows that I'm very, very outspoken with what I honest to God believe is good for all of us, not just some of us. So I think we're having a little technicality here that I don't quite understand. It's giving me a sign Is the young man that controls this here, Lana? Lon, where is Jim? I need him to come here. I think there's a problem here with the unit here. Either that or I'm being cut off, one of the two. But I'm going to stop this conversation for the moment because right now this is just like I walked in on this one. He set it up. But we in these United States are in some deep, 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 deep crisis. We don't have the leadership. We don't have anyone that's directing what it is we're supposed to do here to survive. We are going to have, what, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people from foreign countries. Why are they leaving their countries to come here? Why? Can anybody give me an explanation? If they are not being fed, if they are being tortured, if they are being mutilated, why? Why are they doing that to their own? And they're seeking homage and they're seeking protection within our own perimeter here in the United States when the United States doesn't take care of their own people, their own citizenry, their own Americans. They're not being cared for here. And now you're going to bring a stranger in here. You're going to feed them. And guess what? The multimillionaires are getting taxed now. So they're not going to be flooding the bank there to take over the expense of these food stamps and these free hospitalization, free doctors, free medication. Where's that going to come from? These college students that are with ambition and dreams of getting out of Harvard, Princeton, Indiana, all these big colleges, and they're so that they can utilize what their 4 years of going to college was, so that they can make a living and have families and be worthy of all the money they put into being able to get a job. What kind of job? Where are the jobs? Banking? Forget that. They're changing that already. At this bank that I go to, every time I turn around, there's a new guy in charge. Where's the other one? Well, they're switching to another place. Now, then I understand now they're going to change how they run the bank. It's going to be different. Coins, you used to be able to take your coins so they could make dollars for you, but they don't do that anymore. Now you have to figure it out. Or you go to Strzok and Van Til's, but they'll charge you for it according to the amount that you're going to have to give the money. So you could take the monies and make them into dollars. There's so much going on that it is beyond measure that if you have a mind that clicks to want to know, you go crazy. But then if you have one that's like moves like the turtle that's trying to climb across the street, that you have to stop traffic because now there's a law. Don't you dare hit that turtle because they'll stick you in jail. You could kill somebody, but you got to go get a lawyer. But for that turtle boy, they'll stick your ass in jail in 5 minutes because you destroyed something that now has been made into a law by somebody in Washington, D.C. that you didn't even know existed until you commit the incident. So right at this point, again, I don't know how to shut this off because I think I've done my little time here for the time available. So Lana, could you please get the producers to come here and turn this off? Lana? I hate this because I should learn how to do this. Someone said, why don't you learn? Because I'm busy doing some other things. And he just said, let's put you on. So I need to have this. Lon, would you get Jim, please? Would you go get him, please? Could you please? I don't know how to stop this.
I'm watching it.
Please?
I was watching it in the den.
Lana, would you get him to come and shut it off? Tell him it's I don't know how to do this. I'm good to keep you going, but what I need here, I need someone that could volunteer to come here and run this for me because then I'm available to do this a lot. But as of now, I've got other things I have to tend to. But the whole idea that the president is all over the world today, and all he's talking about is environmental paradise. Where is his head? And those senators and the ones that are those Republicans that are running for the job, not a one says anything about nothing. Not a one. And then we got Hillary, the movie star. Now she's a movie star. She's real perky. And Bill is hiding somewhere because he has to. Why is he? What the hell is he saying that's worth $600 and some $1,000 to go to some public place with all these people clapping and adoringly smiling at him? What the hell is he talking about? His time is up. It's done. He's not going to sway anybody. But now all of a sudden he's not near her. And there she is. Perky. She was going to do her own thing, but now she's with the president. She goes along with everything he said. She's on the same track. And all the movie stars, they're over there with benefits and monies and millions, all the movie stars. Movie stars that today they're here and tomorrow they're gone. There are no more Lana Turners, no more Clark Gables. They make one movie and they're whoa, big stars. And then the next thing you know, they're in jail or they shot themselves. There's no longevity with the movie stars. And now we're going to rely on this screen here to produce you and to show you and make you a movie star. Mrs. Hillary, she is obnoxious. She's like on a pendulum. It goes this way. She was all against the. I'll never forget when she stood in front of him while he was campaigning, and she called him everything and insinuated everything. Now all of a sudden, she's a fan. Doesn't anybody have a recollection when this election thing started? What? How many years ago? 7, 8 years ago. Because now it's getting to be 8. But she's going to be the president of the United States. Then you have the lady on the Republican side. Man, she's something else. That lady is something else, regardless of her party affiliation. Now, that lady has qualifications for president. That one. Hillary, nada. Gone. Done. And she's the only one on the Democratic Party horizon of all the millions that's going to represent the candidacy for president of the United States. You have great Democrats, stupendous, but why don't they get into this race? Why? I want to know why. For some reason, they're not getting into this. The ones that have the balls and the moxie to be able to run for the president of the United States on the caliber of the ones that we've had. Where are they? They've been bought off? They've been scared off? Or they realize that these are bad times to run to be the president of the United States. They don't want any part of it. But there she is, walking around, prancing around. Lana, I need to get off. Listen, folks, tune me in because I am good. I know I'm good. And I speak with no forked tongue. And as to the Latinos, that's what they call us, Latinos, because I'm considered one, even though I came from Spain, my parents. They are the group of people that are going to be the future of these United States. The Latinos, the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, the Colombianos, the whatever, they have the numbers. But I am an example of a teacher that gave me the brain to think, told me I could be somebody, and you're going to learn. When I didn't understand a damn thing she was saying to me, Miss Shell and Miss Gray, I'll bring them up. They're my goddesses. And just any of these children that are coming here to go to school, do they have a mentor? I want someone to call me and tell me. Because they are the future. They are the future of this country. And Marco Rubio, I adore him. He's like me, first generation, but he's smarter than I am. And he did more with his life. My mother wouldn't let me go to college. I got a ability to go to college on a Spanish grant. But you have to remember, in those days, the foreign mothers wanted you to stay home. They wanted to know where you were, and they were going to see to it that you were never going to be out of sight. So my mother told Miss Cheever to get out when she came here to tell Miss Cheever, the one that I thought didn't like me at all because I spoke Spanish better than she did, and that drove her nuts. So she sent me out of the room because I would correct her. The kids in the class of Drusilla, they would laugh because I could have taught the class myself, and I was just a freshman. And she did everything in her power to get me out of that class. But Ms. Hope then liked my ability to stand up to, because can you imagine a woman of that stature in those days, how she went through all kinds of everything to become a principal of a high school? A woman was looked upon like she was nothing. And here she was, little Miss Hope. That eventually she got to know me and liked my spirit. I ended up working in her office as an assistant when there were times that you had that kind of an ability to be an assistant. And then she screwed up my name when I was graduating. Again, I correct her all the time. My name is Valia Andino. And she said, she's handing me my diploma. And in typical me, I blurted out, "You did it again. You didn't pronounce my name right." And she got all fluttered because she was no one to get fluttered, but I always fluttered her. And it was a comic. Everybody's wondering what we were saying. And I walked off with this hot temper, which are very bad. With age now, it's kind of become kind of watered down. And then later on, she walked up to me. She said, I'm sorry. And I just looked at her again. I said, in all these times, you never could get my name right. And she said, well, it's not an American name. I said, right, I'm not Mary Jane or Junie. But I remember that all coming from that heritage, that's what the anger is, that the people that come to this country basically are what I was 88 years ago, 87 years ago. Little kid that didn't understand nothing. But in those days, those teachers said, you could be somebody. You will be something. We are going to see to it. I ask kids today, do you have a teacher that says that to you? No. Well, they're basically as old as they are. Kids today that are teaching women and men, they're in their early 20s, and they're with these students that are 18, 17. That's why they're having a little much of a problem with that. But today, Americans, you're all out there. You must speak up. You must get out to vote. This is the most important time of our lives, all of us in this universe, when that election day comes around. I talked to two guys. I just saw them walking down the street here because I'm out in the country. And they always say, hello, hello. So typical me. I said, where do you live? The man says, down the street. He says, oh, you don't have a car? No. I just go to the store here. He says, okay. I says, are you going to vote? He goes, what? Vote? No, I never vote. No, I don't believe in voting. Oh, you don't? So in about 20 minutes, I convinced him. Then I said, I'm going to check on you because I'm the precinct committee lady. If I don't see you there, I says, I'm going to come back and I am going to tell you, thank you very much, because you just threw away our lives, because your vote depends on what happens to all of us. And he apologized and he said, I'm going to register. I says, it's easy to register now. You can register a lot of places, not just like you used to have to go to Crown Point. Then there's a lady that walks her dog. And I always say hello, because if I'm out front. And she never voted either. She says, I don't vote. They're all a bunch of crooks. Right? That's because you don't vote. So today, if there's anybody listening to me, and if you are listening to me, this is the most important time of all of our lives and our existence in this country. because we have all of the people that want it to stay as it is and want it to be as what the outsiders want it to be. So you're going to bring us a very dangerous situation that once it's here, you're not going to be able to control it. So I beg of you, I plead with you, I ask you, get registered, get registered. It is of no consequence to me, truly, whether it's a D, an R, or even the I, but just so you have a voice, just so you could say, I got counted. I am one. I am counted. I am part of this system of what we call government. This is the most important time of your life to pull a lever. Much like when you go to get your money out of the bank or whatever. That's a very important thing for you to be able to do the one to get your money out of, in your name, out of the bank. This vote now that is going to come up, this year coming, because now we're in the month of December, is probably the most important thing you will ever do with this finger when you go and you press the lever. Because it's going to be the only time in your life that you have a voice, that you're able to save this country. Listen to me carefully. This is the only time in our lives. I don't know if I'll be alive by that time because I live by the day at this age and time. Every day to me is a gift from God. But this is the only time in the history of our country that we have to voice very powerfully that we're going to appoint a president to the United States of America with the will of the people. All of the will of all of the people, not some of the people. Because the ones that make it a point to go, the majority of them are the ones that are getting paid to vote, and they're voting for whoever the party that's giving the money. Make sure you vote. I'll give you $10. I'll give you $5. There's a lot of 5s, a lot of 10s, a lot of 20s out there on election day. Did you know that? They're all over the place. And this election is going to be very hazardous, very volatile, very powerful because of the circumstances that we're in here. This is the most important election in the history of the United States. Take it from this old lady, I'm telling you. I know it, I feel it. We can change history in this election. We, the people of these United States, with the will that we have and the opportunity we have, before someone comes in there and tells you that you're going to have no voice, no opinion, and no ability to thrive and to be. Take that to the bank. It's starting already. Again, I'll repeat for those that didn't hear me, that people in this country, living in this United States, I hate that word united because we're not united. We're all fragmented. We're just like tattered. We're not united, but we better get united because you got outsiders. We have more outsiders in this country today and coming in here in between now and next year to destroy this country. Take that to the bank. There are people in tribal communities ready to, they're telling you can't bear arms. They said, oh no, you can't have guns. You can't, we gotta, oh no, we're going to be like the English now with the Billy Club. And well, they can't in Europe. They don't allow anybody in Europe to have guns. But wait a minute, but in the Middle East, there isn't one damn person that doesn't have a very expensive gun. They don't have food, they don't have their underwear, they don't have clothes, they don't have nothing, but they all got, everybody there, even women now, have a gun. And I keep asking, who in the hell who is furnishing the guns to a nation that is starving, and outside of the millionaires that conquer them, the guys with the turbans, the ones that are all ecclesiastical and they're supposed to be the Lord and masters of everything over there. They got guns. They have guards that guard them, boy, let me tell you. Everybody's walking around with a gun. I repeat myself when I said, how about the officials in Washington, D.C.? The big guys, they're sitting there, the senators. They have guards. They don't go anywhere without somebody protecting their ass. But they're telling you you can't have one. Have you ever thought about that? This country was founded on the right to possess arms. And that was when they were having to protect themselves against the animals and the environment that they came here. It's not like you see today. Like one time I've been here since 1940, so just figure. Across the street, they used to come there in the woods to shoot the turkeys and choose the pheasants, because that's what we had here. Everybody was shooting around here like crazy, because this was all wooded area. And Mrs. May almost got her head shot off when a bullet ricocheted off the side of her head. That's when we had to call the sheriff people, you know. But these guys would get there and get into the woods there, and they'd be shooting whatever they could shoot there. But the big guys in Washington will tell you, we want no more guns. Well, then if you don't have a gun, then you get a slingshot too. You have no right to a gun either. What you don't want for me, then I don't want that for you either. That's in granite. If whatever you're there to do, that's for my benefit. But then again, it isn't for my benefit, it's for your benefit, because you become a multimillionaire with all the carpetbaggers bringing in the money so that you pass their laws. But now guess what? The big guys, the big millionaires, what are they doing? They're moving out of the country with their businesses. Read the Wall Street Journal, the wonderful paper that I got from a dear friend who thought it was going to maybe upset me, but I thank him from the bottom of my heart. For 3 years now, I get the Wall Street Journal. He paid for it for 1 year. And then when I realized that it was him, because that was the thing, I was getting it and I was wondering, who's buying me the Wall Street Journal? Well, it was this young man, so that I would be aware of what's going on. And then once I found out, I thanked him, because now to the beautiful person who runs the Wall Street Journal subscription, I get it at a real good deal, so I continue to get it. That's like my Bible. I have to read it. And now I'm getting the Gary Post. For some reason now I'm getting the Gary Post. And I'm getting the Hammond Times. And then there's another one that's inserted, so I read 4 papers a day. Now you say, she reads? I get up real early in the morning. I see the articles that are interested in me, and that's when I start to get my, what I'm repeating to you is because I've read it. So, knowledge is power. And again, that all the books that I have here in 3 floors, you know what though? They're treasures. That must have happened when the Jews were told they had to burn all Germany, when Hitler said, there will be no more books. And he stacked them up as high as mountains and lit them up and burned them, because he changed history. He didn't concentrate on someone like me he concentrated on the youth. That's the history. When I bring this up, they don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Germany? Because you know why? That's being left out already. That's element of what was passed in the Second World War, my dear. It's no longer, no one knows what the hell it is. The youngsters of today are being indoctrinated with a history that to me is not recognizable anymore. Do any of them know geography? Not a damn one. I laughed at that one guy that goes into the crowds and starts asking little simple questions, and they sit there like dumbbells. But they're in college towns. And they don't know what the hell he's talking about. They don't recognize the person. They don't recognize the public official. They don't recognize anything that is mundane. Nothing. That's the future of our country. The brains that we have to run this country. And as I've said, the elements that are coming in this country are coming with one idea: to take it over. They multiply babies by every 9 months. The Americans, they don't have them because they said can't afford them. You can't afford a child. And then if you have a child, you're not going to be able to raise it because you have to go to work. So immediately you're going to have to find a babysitter. You don't know what that babysitter is going to do. Have any of you seen these cameras in homes where the parents both work and then they hire someone to come in and take care of their child? That's a little infant, and then the camera's on it. Then you find out the baby's got a broken arm, got a bruise on the eye, and then they look at the camera. It's the babysitter. It's the so-called person they've hired to take care of their child so they can both go to work. That today is the United States of America. If I had the power, I would have every state be a state within itself. We're not united. Indiana's not united to Illinois. Illinois is sure as hell not united to Indiana. Ohio isn't either. Stop and think. And then you have the clowns in Washington, D.C. that supposedly represent your state of Indiana. What are they doing for Indiana? Not a damn thing. But they've got money. They're richer than they ever were with the holes in their shoes that they walk the streets and tattered. Oh, yeah. They're very wealthy. But the job that you've afforded them to represent you, that's a joke. I don't want anybody to tell me how to run my life. Never did. My husband knew better than to order me. He would just say, would you do this? Could you do that? Yeah. But if it was like, you got to do that? Oh, yeah? I don't think so. Any woman out there will tell you that. A woman always was the boss in the house. We're supposed to be, because he was busy working and bringing home the paycheck and dead tired. And so you saw to it that he had clean clothes, he had food, that you made him happy. You know what I mean by that? And that you kept him at peace. Today, families, are there such a thing as a family today? I don't think so. I don't think so. My daughter has to go work in Indianapolis. She has to work in order to help out. The kids, we can't afford this, we can't afford that. It just is what it is. I can't do a lot of things I used to be able to do, or just go to lunch here and go do this. I don't do that anymore. Can't find people to rent the building. No one has money to pay rent because they don't have a job. That's the real thing, baby case. That's what you call the real deal. No BS. That's real. And this country, when you have the president walking around talking about the fact that we have to be worried about the air and the environment without worrying about that we have no jobs, that there's suffering here, there's diseases, there are illnesses, and that we're in deep trouble in this country. The factories are no longer there. The small little business can't afford to stay operating because of the taxes. And where in the hell do those taxes go to serve us, the people? What do they do with the money that you pay property tax with? What do they do? You got gasoline tax so that it's supposed to take care of the roads, it's supposed to take care of the highways. Where the hell is that money at? And why did they sell the major roads in Illinois to Spain and to Australia? To do what? Supposedly for 2.8 billion, B as in boy. You people that are out there, you don't know that, do you? Well, get on your computer and see if they didn't scratch that one off. But look it up. Parts in the whole of Indiana was bought out by a foreign country. Someone got on the computer and showed me throughout the United States, we have foreign countries owning our major highways. Did you know that? Into the millions. But those millions were supposed to be so we didn't worry about having cracks in the streets and cracks in the sidewalks. It was with the purpose of being able to take care of our highways and our byways. So where's that money at? Where's the money that the billions that for 90 some years the people that came here from a foreign country bought it? To do what? You're saying to yourself, that lady's nuts. I don't have to watch and listen to her. She's crazy. What the hell does she know? Not on a dime, baby. Don't. Anyone that knows me knows that. I do know. And now that I'm afforded this opportunity, which is like a gift from, well, I always trust my God. God always is there for me. And like this, with strange situations, I always say, well, God, I guess I'm still living here for something, because I'm not checking out yet. But this, in our United States, those that hear me, those that are viewing me, if you're viewing me, know this. In this election, it's the election of our existence as Americans, as free people in the states that constitute our country. This is one time that you got to get off your ass on the day of election. May it sleet, may it whatever it is, if it's rain, cold, whatever. Because I've sat there with the weather. I'm there. Even with the bad knees, I was there to make sure. I don't come up to you and tell you you got to vote. I never do that. I'm just praise you for coming. I don't hawk you. But you do have the hawks along the side that have been paid to pass out the thing. Give vote for this person. Give vote for this person, because someone has paid them money to do so. You're going to have a lot of mess in the voting places, because you're going to have a lot of outsiders that don't even belong in this country and are still here getting aid and being fed, being doctored, who are going to be paid money to try to sway the people as they go into the voting places. I predict that. That's coming this May. I want to see, the only time that I saw crowds that I was just absolutely astounded, when that little guy from Texas, there I go again, I forget his name, when he ran, and he got all this energy, and he was, and then the dumb jackass, then he didn't even finish up trying to go in the whole ride. He was a billionaire. He had all this. You got everybody over. My God, the voting place there by Calumet Township building there, the doors were just jammed with people. That's the only time in all the years that I've been there that I saw a crowd that was absolutely enthused and out of control. The only time. Never since. Never, ever, never since. But I would absolutely be ecstatic if in this election we had to have guards to allow the people to have tranquility and peace to come in there peacefully to vote so they could leave. If that day would be afforded to us by the grace of God and all the Allahs and whatever names people have for their gods, that the precincts would be so jammed that we would have to have control for peace, not for anything, for peace and tranquility, so that people could come in, vote, move, and have traffic control so that the cars could get out and everybody would be safe. That would be a dream that only God and good people could afford me if I lived that long. Because like I said, at this time in life, every day's a gift. That's why I live it to the fullest with this brain, as long as I can think. Names, I have a terrible time with names, but not incidents and not history. I can recite it backwards and forwards. But the names, I got by too much with saying, hi, sweetheart, how are you? Without going into the names. Now I'm getting paid for it, because now I have to say, oh, what is this name? Oh, I pretend like I could come to me, and then someone will mention, then I'll take it up. It's a little trick. But as far as the opportunity to get on here again and to speak to you with all my heart, and Gary, people called from Gary over that matter of that thing. That was absolutely fabulous. Fabulous. And then the calls I got for those that knew my number, which is 980-2395. Just give me time to answer, and don't hang up if it's busy, because I'll get to you. But the idea in this country today, our entire country, it's America. I like the word America. United States, we're not united. So that to me is BS. But in this country, America is beautiful. The one now that it's got scars and it's got some algae, and it's because it's not clean. We've been invaded with a fungus that has to be eradicated. And the way you're going to eradicate it is come out there on that May and you vote for the candidate that you believe, be he D, be he R, even the I, which anyone that plays the game of mine, you know what that reminds me of? There's a guy that doesn't know if he's going to jump in the lake or if he's going to jump over the road. He can't make up his mind. He doesn't have brain one to understand what he is. So to me, he's worthless. When you're an independent, to me, you're worthless because you don't have brain enough to assert yourself for who you are. And all of you that are there, be you black, be you brown, and white, forget that, because no one's white. I'm kind of pink. I don't want to be called white. But the idea, no matter what sinner you are, no matter what you believe in, because if you believe in something which is in the heavens by the name of God, which I still can't figure out who decided G-O-D, and then Allah, if you say Allah, like you say Allah, that means Allah. That's in Spanish, we say that. It's the Allah. But whatever name you give your faith, it indicates that you do believe in a higher being. Let's get that straight out. It doesn't matter to me what you call your God, as long as it is God, because God is God for all of us. It's man that created the difference in this, with the different connotations and the different descriptions of how he benefits you. God is God. Man created the problem of religion, and that's the wars are always over the title, whatever the hell you call it. Belief in your faith, that's another thing. Faith. Now the ones that are out there with the black scarves and the black everything, the black flags, they're with the Allah. How could you kill in the name of God? How could you do that? Do they have an inkling of brain one to figure out why do you use that word when you kill somebody? You kill somebody in the name of God? You're going to go to hell, Jack, I'll tell you. So if you think you're going to go there with the 5 maidens, that's because you haven't got brain one. Somebody's conditioned you to be retarded and mentally deficient. But that's how you control a nation in the countries over there. It's the will of the leader, the guy with the turban, that is supposed to be the God. He is God, walking around in that black robe with the black turban. Who in the hell designated him as being God? You have to ask questions. Priest. I'm a Catholic. Yeah, I am. A Catholic only in denoting my religious background. But do I go there and believe everything that's coming out of that book? No, I kind of question that sometimes. The only ones I don't question are the 10 Commandments. I brought that up. That is something that should be taught from kindergarten, preschool. The 10 Commandments should be. Those are the rules, how to exist as man, woman, child. Those are the laws of God. And I mentioned that again. I'm repetitious because I don't know if you heard it before or not. The 10 Commandments were brought from the sky, from the heavens, to designate these are the rules that I want mankind to follow, to be part of my world on earth. These are the rules. They're very simple. They're not real fancy. So if every country, every faith, be you a Jew, be you a Protestant, be you whatever, followed the law of our God, there would be peace. There would be unity. But the one that the premise of what created what we're in here now, with what's going on over there, killing everybody, shooting everybody, destroying buildings, that was permeated by the other guy. That used to be an angel. That's the devil, Satan. And it's funny, in the Catholic faith, he never brought his name up. He was Lucifer, but kind of skimmed over that. You just thought God was God. There was no other person that's tucking out there to make you cross the line. And now what we see with these leaders, you see they got all this orchestration and all these cameras and everybody, they're all sitting on one stage. These are the people that are absolutely ruining our lives, destroying our countries, destroying our will to live as individuals under God with liberty and justice for all. Leaders, I don't accept none of them. Who made them leaders? Your vote. But what are they doing? Are they representing what you want, what your will? No. Once they get in there, you're nothing. 6 years, man, they do their thing. People come in there with bags of money, get that law passed, and let's get that done, and let's get this done. I'd like to know the ones that are passing laws like the turtle. I'm bringing that up because they showed it. There's a law in certain communities. You can't cross, if a turtle is crossing that road, man, you got to stop. You don't hit it because you're gonna have the law on you. There are so many stupid ass, jackassy laws that we don't know anything about, but they were passed by Congress. Now the president's running this country like a dictator. He's not going to Congress. So what the hell are Congress over there for? Why are they getting a salary? If this guy is going to run the country and tell you, I don't need Congress, I can do this on my own. I'm Jesus Christ walking on water. Then what the hell do we need you over there for? Why are we being taxed so that we could run that White House? For what? Try calling I will bring this up. Senator Smith called. He's a very gracious man. I think he's a little, I know he's intimidated by reputation or something. I don't know why, but anyway. But we had a nice conversation on my birthday. And I gave him my birthday. He says, I'd like to send you a card. Well, I get a card from Viskovsky on my birthday. I get a call. But sometimes I'm not here to respond. So if Lana's here, she gets the greeting of happy birthday. That's a beautiful gesture. And I know he does it with all his heart to do that. It means something to him. I'm his constituent. But he knows that I'm not the normal constituent. He knows that. They all know that. I have a will of my own. And that's the thing that I would like to eradicate. If I had any power, I would eradicate the R and the D and the I. And I would absolutely make it that we are Americans and we are a country of our own. And the hell with all this other stuff splitting us up, because that's why we're all split up. Right?
You're right. You're the boss.
This is the guy that's going to shut me off here now because I don't know how to do this.
No one can see me, but I'm her boss.
Yeah.
She's my boss.
No, you're the general.
I'm the general, but she's my boss.
Yeah. And he's so gracious to do this. That's why I'm able to do this, because prior to this, I had another young guy that used to do this, young man. And then political differences, or I don't know what the hell it is, because as far as I'm concerned, I love it. He's a very precious person and has always been for a long time in my heart.
Hey, boss, can you do me a favor?
What's that?
The mouse there, hand that to me so my face and stuff don't get in the screen.
Oh, the mouse. Okay.
Yep.
But listen,
I
folks.
do everything I can with it up here.
All I want for you to know is that I am an occasional speaker, and I'm one of the rough riders, darling. I don't take twos from anybody unless I am absolutely off the charts with something that I read that is not so. I stand to be corrected. But whatever I do and however I present myself to you, I do you with an open heart, with a mind, intelligence, because I read the papers. I read and I listen to others that give me information that they're intimidated and don't have the courage to speak due to the fact that they work with jobs that could be detrimental to them continuing. And isn't it terrible that you work in a government complex, which I predict will be the next regional jail? Oh, there was papers. There was an article in the paper, in the Hammond Times, already giving you a rundown. As soon as this election is over, my darlings, you're going to go into regional government of the people, by the people, for the people. And I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Don't fight it, because we can't afford for Gary to be. Gary is the key. Gary is the key.
Hey, boss.
Yes.
Do you want to stay continuing for
No,
30
no,
minutes or
just
whatever?
a few minutes.
Okay.
But Gary, I got a call. Why do you talk about Gary? Gary is this Gary. Location, location, location. Gary, my darlings, is going to be the star, the peak of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and surrounding, because of the lake. The lake is the feature for the future. And then watch that area that's falling apart because they have no business. Watch the village. There's something going to happen in that community there in the village because of the inroads of the highway. Someone, I just mentioned it to you yesterday. Oh, by the way, I went to get, I'm having trouble with my phone. I can't afford a phone that has all those
What do
little.
you mean she can't afford a phone? She got the best phone right now
Yeah, but the thing
in
is,
the United States.
but I didn't realize this lady, she's adorable. She works there. Oh, Radio Shack. I got to bring that up. Not a living soul goes into the Radio Shack. I was there for something else. And then she graciously came out of the thing, says, "Can I show you the phone?" I was going to get another little dinky phone because I said, I just call my daughter. I don't use the phone. She said, "Let me show you something. You could work this. This is real easy." So because she was so charming, I said, okay. So here she comes with this phone. And I'm like, oh God, it's as big as my hand. And she says, all you do is this, you could talk. I said, wait a minute. I don't have to go with my fingernails. No, you don't do that. You have another, then that's something you could get. It's a little, like a pen with a little rubber tip. I said, oh my God, thank God. Because everybody says, you can't do it with your nails. I said, well, I'm not cutting my nails for a telephone. Anyway, so she showed me the phone. And you talk to the phone. And the phone does what you say. And I got so enchanted, but she gave me a great deal, which, by the way, folks, Radio Shack here in Griffith, 50% off of everything. Everything. And they're great people sitting there waiting for someone to walk through that door. But I said, don't fear, because you're in the path of the future. Ridge Road is going to be a mecca.
Her phone. The weather this week.
Here's some matching pictures.
Yeah, wait. Let me show you this phone.
Weather. Ask her for the weather.
Wait,
for the week.
I say, what is the weather for today?
Today's forecast for Gary is 44 degrees with scattered showers.
How about that? And it's 44 degrees, and then I could ask it questions and it talks to me.
Ask her what time it is.
Okay, now I'll say, what time is it, please? It didn't say.
Have it.
Oh, there I go again. What is the time?
The time is 7:16 p.m.
How about that? So guess what? She gave me a fabulous deal that now the young man here says, you got a better deal than I did. I said, you got to go to Radio Shack. That lady is there. She took so much time, but I was the only one in the building, but she did more than her. The two young men, gracious, but nobody walking into the Radio Shack. But I said, you're going to have a booming business when they are going to rechange this whole strip of Ridge Road for the future when it becomes regional. And it's going to be a booming mecca, just like now Cherville. You go to Cherville, you don't recognize it anymore. The big businesses from all over are going in there to build their buildings. And they're going to do that here because they're doing it by sections with regional concept. And the regional government will start as soon as this election is over with, the presidential election, you're going to see a boomer. And watch what happens to Gary. And thank you, Jesus, that the mayor went back on any consideration to what was going to be proposed across from the airport. Can you imagine you're going to stick these thugs, these people that are waiting for the go-ahead sign to take over Gary? Listen, I may be old, but I'm not crazy. And now a lady that called me from Crete, that they're having meetings over there to stick the same building over there for these thugs that are not even American citizens. Watch, and if you listen to me from all over the world, which she tells me that I am, be aware of this. They are starting to put these retention buildings. They tried it in Hobart. That got shut down. They're real smart over there. So then now over in Gary. But the mayor, very wisely, shot it down. But they're putting them in very, very special places because when they decide to start taking over the American people, they are strategically placed in very important communities so they can take over in 5 minutes. Just like the gas stations, they're not owned by any Americans, they're owned by the Kashmir Middle. Is he going to be our friend if there's something going on, or is he going to shut down the gas stations? Just throwing that in. AT&T, is a foreign country going to buy it out? And they control all your means of communication. Just throwing it out. Anything to do with controlling the power of our main access to controlling a country, a state, a city, is now in the hands of foreign people, foreign countries that are buying us out because of the taxation. The taxation we have the highest tax for business people that they're finally saying can't afford to stay here. So they're all in Mexico now. They're moving to foreign countries, and we're here without nothing. You're going to be controlled by foreign people that come here not to be a part of America as my mom and dad did and those that came in those days. These are outsiders coming here to take over and create their countries within our own borders. Think about that. You don't have to come here and establish it. It can be done overnight because it's carefully being planned, like a chess game. You know how you see guys playing chess? That's how our government now is being maneuvered by outsiders that are strategically placing their groups of their citizenry, like that one in Detroit. Kid comes over here in 2006, becomes an American citizen immediately. Now he's the mayor of the town. It's a country within Detroit. It's a country within Detroit. Is he a good guy or a bad guy? Is he for the living the laws of the land that were brought here when they came here in those rickety ass boats and were called pilgrims? Like John Wayne said, pilgrim. That was a sign of honor when you call somebody a pilgrim. So right now, I've been here by the grace of God with this young man who said, Mrs. T, you want to get on? I'm here to do you, because he's taking care of his mother. And if I could get someone that knows how to do this, and I can depend on him on a regular basis, or a lady, give me a call, 980-2395, because then I would come on much more easily and ready to perform. Like now, he just said that because I came from the store, and I said, okay, I've got a nice sweater. I'll put a nice sweater on, and I'll be sitting here. And as you can see, my table's set for Christmas already. I do that all the time. Anybody who comes to the house, time to sit down, we don't have to set the table. It's done. It's covered so it stays real nice. And then we all sit down and have a nice dinner. Now, my mother, she'd probably go crazy. My mother would save the best for a special day. But how many special days did we have? Maybe one or two. But this way, no, I change it with the seasons so that if someone comes and they are my friends when they come, you come to my house, you're my friend. And I'm prepared with the seasons. And I invited Mr. Smith to come and be my guest. And that's anyone that, and I also, for the young man from Miller, the lawyer, I've invited him too. You come and sit here with your differences and with your eloquence, and we'll discuss it like sitting here at my table, having something to eat, something to drink, and we'll discuss our differences with mutual admiration for the fact that we have the ability to do so. We're still friends. There's some people, if you're not a Democrat, they hate you. Or if you're not a Republican, if you're a Republican, oh, I hate you. But you know what? Party and political differences are a gift that we've been afforded, but then it's being abused. So I don't care if you're an independent. I don't care if you're agnostic. That's what you are. But if I like you, I respect you, and by the will of our conversation, we could have a normal relationship. It's all it goes. I have so many people in my life at this age that it sometimes astounds somebody. Christmas cards, I just got through mailing out 70. 70. Do you know 70? Yeah, I do. And I always send a Christmas card. Nobody does that anymore, but I always believe in cards. If you're ill, I know you're ill, I'll never send you a card. If someone passes away, I send you a card. I keep them handy so I don't have to go to the store to buy it because, I got to get it in the mail. No, it's here. That's my means of touching base with you, with my honest to God feeling for your happiness, for your sorrow, for your joy, for your just being okay. I have a lot that just sometimes I see that they need someone to let them know that you're concerned. And, give me a call. I'm here. So at this point, I'm going to take off and hope that this reaches those of you that the calls that I got said, we need you. We need what you say. And when I tell you something and when I speak of things, I speak of them with knowledge because I read, with my heart because I feel, with my body and soul is because I believe that we should be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all, not some. So with that, my darlings, I'm going to bow out and have Mr. Jim tune me out. And again, if there's someone here, some young kid, some young somebody, my number is 980-2395. So I could do this more often and possibly do a lot more on other subjects. But the subject that I'm real ticked about today is that our president's going around talking about weather. Weather! When there is death and there's calamity and there's catastrophic conditions that we could be wiped out of these United States by heathens, by people that despise the fact. See, they don't know us. A lot of them come in here with all this hate, and guess what? They become one of us. There's a lot of that. They come here with all this misconception about America, and then when they're here, they don't want to go back. No, I like it here. But the ones that are coming, being infiltrated here with the open door policy, that are being, you see them if you watch it. I've asked that. No, I don't watch television. They don't know what the hell I'm talking about. They don't know that there's hundreds and thousands of people that they're going to bring in here. We don't know whether they're going to come here to kill us or whether they're going to come here to be a part of us. But in the meantime, the most important thing, we can't afford them. We can't feed them. We can't medicate them. We cannot take care of those babies. We have enough within our own borders and within these states that we can't take care of ourselves. And you're going to bring now hundreds of thousands of people that don't understand anything and they don't have anything on their back. So how are you going to clothe them? We're going into winter. How are you going to give them a coat? How are you going to feed them when you have to go to the grocery store and I see people in the grocery store picking up something and they put it back then they're touching this and they're putting back. And then they'll look at me and say, gee, I used to be able to afford 3 of that, but I can't today. I'm just going to have to pass. We in these United States, I hate that word, we in America today are in a mess beyond measure. But you have the people in Washington, D.C. that don't know what it is to be poor. They don't know what it is not to want, because we've afforded them to become millionaires. We, the people of these United States, have afforded them through electing them to positions that they were there to take care of our needs within our own borders, within our own cities, within our own towns, within our own states. They abuse the privilege that we've given them. They're a bunch of malcontents. I would absolutely, term limitation, I've jawed on that forever. I don't want anybody to be there a lifetime, go in there and stay there till they're so senile, like that old man that was in a wheelchair and been there forever, didn't even know where he was. He finally retired. Hell, at my age, I'm almost 88. Do I look 88? No. And I don't have plastic surgery. And so far, my brain is working. Someone says, you can't be that old. But by the grace of God, yeah, I am. But at the same time, as long as I have breath, as long as I have a heart, as long as I have a thought in my head, and now this young man says, I can do that for you and give you the opportunity to speak, which I used to do. And I appreciate Marianne when he called and suggested it. But then the other lady knew that I'm not going to be voided as to what I could say concerning the president and whatever. I don't dislike him. I don't want anyone to tell me, you're a Democrat. How could you say that? I can say anything I choose to say as long as I have power to know what I'm saying. He's not my cup of tea. Never was. No. He has a very strange, convoluted background of how he got to be where he's at. He had a great-grandmother that took care of him. And then I remember distinctly I saw when he was confirmed, or whatever the term is, to being a Muslim, with this gown and the little cap. Saw it right here on television while I had it on when they were talking about him. So whoever's going to get him on now and see if somebody now doesn't show that anymore. And then they brought him to Chicago to be a youth organizer. Yeah? Chicago is the worst pit of malcontents, young boys that have no homes, they're on the streets. They murder everybody. 4,000 some have been murdered all over the place. And yet, it's okay. It's all right. Mm-hmm. But we're worried about the environment. We're worried about the environment. That's the main topic of this continental discussion he's having. Worried about the environment, the air, the clouds, the rain. That's controlled by God. No politician can control that ever, unless you're going to capsulize the whole of the city with a big building like a canvas so that we don't see the sun, and we can only allow it when it's sunny, or when it's raining, then we cover it all up. Then we control the elements of the world and the weather. But otherwise you can't. So why not talk about the fact that the countries are these big offices and big corporations are leaving the United States because of the taxation, and they're closing. Factories are closing. They're not producing anything. We're getting everything through China. But you heard me say this again. China's going to fall. They've got more intelligent young people in China than any continental country in the world. And that television, those little, that thing that I was just showing you, that computer little thing here that's like a computer, you cannot shut out the news of the world. You cannot shut out anything about anything that's going on in this world today. Nothing is secret. Secret or sacred, nada. And they're fermenting in China. China is fermenting, and eventually those old bastards that are keeping the youth subjected to nothing, it's going to evaporate. And now all of these people that are leaving their countries, and they're going to come here, then they're going to come here, then they're going to come here, and we can't take care of our own. We have American citizens today that are starving. They're in the streets. We have little children that can't suckle the breasts of their mothers because the mother doesn't have any energy. She doesn't have any food to give to this baby. And the other day, they left a baby with the umbilical cord in a church. Thank you, Jesus, that it was in a church. And yet we're going to bring 100 million people, when you add it all up, into this country. And then maybe they'll force you, they'll come knocking on your door and say, hey, we got a whole family here and they don't have any place to stay. So we're telling you, you have to keep them in your house. You think I'm nuts because I'm saying that? If the government is starting to change as it is now to be a socialistic dominating force in our states and in our cities, that's what you have to look forward to. They could command you to put in a family and then you figure out how you're going to take care of them. I'm giving you a little seed to plant in your head, so let's see if it's going to materialize. I don't pull any punches. The educational system sucks. High schools are done. These other schools, done. Now the union wants to unionize these teachers that left the high schools and all the schools where they had to pay dues to be a unionized teacher. Now they're going to unionize this school here that got away from it. They want to unionize them. Well, you know what? That'll go by the way of the boards. So guess what? The teacher is going to be the guy behind this little frame here that I'm sitting in front. And you don't know what the hell he's going to teach your kid because it's government control. And the government is not for the people, by the people, and all the people. It's for somebody that is running the show, and you don't know who it is. You think I'm crazy? Like a fox. Once you control, Hitler did it how many years ago? 80-some years ago. And if you don't think we got a Hitler in this country, you're crazy. He may not have a mustache and with the hair over the eye, and may not go with the swastika, but we've got someone here. We've got a group here that are Hitlerites, that are controlling our country behind the scenes. And then when you least expect it, like when he did it in Germany, overnight, man, right away, boom, it was done. So as we speak with this situation here, by the courtesy of this young man that said, Mrs. T, I'm here today because now I don't have to sit with my mother. I says, let's go. So I put on the fancy sweater. I says, okay, we're ready to go. And the fact that this goes all over the world, China rules the whole of the entire world. And if the Chinese children, the young adults, the controlling powers in China, because they're brilliant people, way over the top, they've always been. If they decide to throw out all those big guys that tell them what to do and how to run and how to make the cars, the car industry is China, dear. We don't have a car industry in this country. Where were the union guys when Detroit was converting the making of cars to China? Not here. Where were those union guys, the big guys? Especially that Mr. Tonka with the big hair and the big mustache. Where in the hell was he at? Listen, when the Italians, they called it the mafia, controlled the wharfs and controlled business, they didn't allow none of that, Jack. No. They said, you don't cross that board. This is America. This is how it's going to be. We don't have that anymore. We don't have that mentality and that power of the ability to feel this country was the greatest in the world and you're not going to ruin it. That went out Bobby Kennedy took care of that when he went after the mafia. And ever since then now, who's running the show? Nobody knows. But word to the wise, start to look around. Start to observe where they want to put these buildings, to detention centers with these thugs that should be in Guantanamo. But see, when it's all over with, Guantanamo will be shut out because they're already here. They wanted to do that in Gary. Now this lady called me from Crete that they're having meetings over that. So if my voice is carrying throughout these United States, start checking to see what country is financing this through the American way to build detention centers for these people that should be in Guantanamo, that the president says he wants to shut it down. Why? Why? What reason? With the ones that were let out right off the bat, the big thugs with that young kid now that claims he wants to come back to America? What? See, I could babble on anything. I don't babble. I'm just talking about everything because it's just like I'm on a Ferris wheel and it just all the subjects just keep spinning around. And now he's afforded me the right to say this. But America, Europe, wherever this goes, because I got calls from London, from Ireland. That was the most wonderful one. She called me and I was absolutely ecstatic about that. But I got a call after the bombing. And I got calls from all these foreign countries and the United States. I was flabbergasted because to me, I'm like here, I'm talking, this is like I'm looking at myself. But I didn't realize the power that this magnificent mechanism here has to have us speak to each other and to voice our opinions and to try to give you an insight into the power you have as an individual that God has given you by birth to be a power unto yourself. Not to be told when to jump, when you do, when you that, because basically that's what's happening in this country. Free will seems to be, and I see this with children they're in college. They don't have a free will. And when I saw those colleges with these kids there, these young people dictating what was going to happen, you can't, but guess what? They're outsiders. So the hell with them. If I was in charge, you want to come to study in this college and you're going to get a free ride. And you don't have to worry about paying your books and your tuition because the government entity is allowing you to come here for nothing and enjoy the freedom of this country. Go back where you came from. You got a college over there. If not, start one. You need to have some colleges and educate yourselves within your own country. Then you know what? You'll outfox the guy that pretends he's the only person that could run that country. You could not tell him, oh yeah, we're going to do this as a democracy. You're out of here. Have you ever thought about that? Within these countries that are outside of the American United States domain, they have colleges. But what are they teaching them? How are they dominating their minds to become worthy of controlling the powers of their country? Here in this United States, when you see the guy out there in the campuses talking to they don't know anything. They're dumb. They're supposed to be the intelligentsia of the collegiate world. And when they ask them a simple question, they don't know what the hell he's asking them. They don't know how to answer. I'm going, God. And that mother and father have scrimped for 12 years to send to college. And then he can't answer a simple question from a man that's standing on the street. What does that say? 12 years that you did without. You drove that same old car with the busted fenders and the tires that you couldn't replace. So this kid could be, this child of yours, your prize could go to one of the top colleges. And then he doesn't even know how to answer a question. And then he's all for the fall of our country. He's out there that he wants to run it like it's a dictatorship. And you've heard me say that. I would kick him out of school. I said, get out of here. Go back where you come from and you go use your mentality and whatever it is you think governmental wise, use it over there. We don't need you over here. And the colleges that allow that, and the best thing, again, I will repeat that, from the millionaires and billionaires that finance these colleges, because that's where they went, or that's their favorite college because of the football team, close off your bank account. The minute that you do that, that's like an enema. It cleans it all out. Then they're going to go back to teaching and teaching the ways of the American way of life and democracy, and not sit here with a bunch of kids, young people out there telling you, get out of here, and creating where there's no control. I was absolutely astounded. And then I saw my granddaughter, who is editor of a paper at her college, and she gave me all her papers. There she is, her picture. I couldn't believe that. Here she is. So some of the genes got into her. She's got some of the genes for government, for life. She's lovely, she's brilliant, and she's looking to get into writing. So some of the genes got in there. It's unbelievable. And then the other one, Daria, I needed something done, and she knows how to do everything. She's mechanical. She's a genius, and she just started in here. I can do that, Grandma. I can put that over there, and I could do this. Oh my Lord, an inbred genius, this girl. And Allison, with her picture with her glasses, they all, I guess, inherit the fact that I'm nearsighted. They are too. And Allison, with her picture in the class newspaper, with her opinions and her views. That to me is unbelievable. Then I have a grandson, John. John, I read some of his words and stuff on the computer. He's brilliant. Now, John should run for public office. John has charisma beyond charisma. Plus, he knows Spanish. He is an absolute fabulous young man, and charm, but he isn't one that, he's not a four-flusher. No. He's as straight as an arrow. But he has a mind for government. So somewhere the seed must have been penetrated him, whether he knows it or not. I'm letting him know now. He has a fantastic insight into government, and his views on government are astounding. I would absolutely encourage him to run for a public office. He would be a shoo-in. He is an ace with his knowledge. He's an ace with his conversation. He is tremendous with writing. He's got a tremendous flair for writing. And I would encourage him to go into the political world of government, not a politician, government, great to the top. Eric is a sports guy. He was a great sports guy. Great sport. He's just great individual. A wonderful young man. Brilliant young man. Charming. The genes are there on the father's side. A lot of good. He's a charmer. And it's something to see them. When you look at your grandchildren and you see their traits and their characteristics, and you could spot some of the entities and the identification traits of the genes. But John definitely should be. It's perfect timing for him to get into the world of the government. I don't want to say politics because he's not a politician. He's just a brilliant government. He's got a brilliant mind for government. And he's a school teacher. And and today, school teachers are in today, gone tomorrow, because they're closing. And eventually, as I say, within 5 years. I'll give you 5 years. I may not be around, but remember, the teachings, the mechanism for teaching is right here. But the teacher, you don't know who the teacher is. That's going to be the problem. Who is going to be the professor? Who is going to generate the power of knowledge to the children that are going to be sitting in front as I am? There's where we have a major problem. I sure as hell don't want a Hitler, I'll tell you that. Hitler used that. He was brilliant. He wasn't even German. Someone said, you said he was Austrian. I said, yeah, he wasn't German. But he had the gift of gab and he had charm. And he was very charismatic. That's how he arose to be who he was. People followed him like the sheep follow the guy with the bell and takes you to the one or the other. So with this ability to be able to come in front of you and to enlighten you, I pray God, and probably set a little spark into you to realize you, my dear, have the power to be whatever you want to be. Don't hide with the fact, oh, I don't want to be this. Oh, I'm afraid they're not going to like me. Who gives a crap? That's why this country's in the state that it's in. And the foreigners that are coming in here, and they are foreign, they're coming in here to take over our country. But they're not doing anything of their own. In America, we go to every foreign country. We've established all kinds of centers so that they would learn, and all kinds of studies so they could learn. We've taken all the power of our intelligence, spread it out through the world. They can't say that they are who they are without the power of our intercession, and we gave it to them. Our individuals that chose to do that, which is a sacrifice, left here to go to foreign countries to teach. Now they're coming in here, but they're trying to, and they are. You observe what from today on, watch very carefully. They're going to be coming in. They've already taken over cities and groups. They migrate to certain, like Detroit. That's one gigantic country within a country. And then they have their senators and they have their officials because they become American citizens. Really. And the people that come here from Mexico and from the Latin countries do what I was told by wise Miss Gray and Michelle. You are here to learn. We want you to be somebody. You have the capability, but you can't do it if you don't study and you don't do your homework and you don't get yourselves to realize you could be somebody. Now, I'm telling you that. From first generation, never spoke a word of English, went to school, and she was telling me, talking to me, I didn't know a damn thing she was saying. And the librarian, we went across the street to the library. That woman with the big red hair and the big glasses, and she spoke like Scottish. We never heard anybody talk like that. And I was scared to death of her. And she's telling me, you are going to learn. You see those books? You're going to learn that. You're going to learn, because then you will be somebody. You could be whatever you want to be, but you must learn from the books. And I'm watching her like she must be crazy. But you know what? She was right, because eventually that's exactly what happened. I'm a ferocious reader. Like I say, I got books all over the place. And I have to read newspapers. I have to read. And the thought that I said on my other show, the newspapers are the only thing that is keeping this country in the state that it is to this point of life and time, is our newspapers. Because the minute that those newspapers are gone, the minute that the books are gone, we're going to join the same life and the same road that Hitler did to the people in Germany. And guess what? They were successful for a certain time. When he got too big for his britches, that he was going to conquer all the Europe, he was going to conquer. And that's when God interceded, and intelligent people said, done. And it was over. Now you got the Russian, the cocky little guy that goes around sitting on a horse without his shirt on. And he's the ugliest. He's ugly. I don't know who now told him he's handsome. And he's over there. He's not an Adonis to begin with. But now he decided he's going to do the same thing. And I keep waiting. When is God going to come down here and take charge? And I say that with honesty. That someone's going to have to come down here and take charge because this is getting out of hand. And there's no one tending to the stores. So what's going to happen here? And with the ability of having you hear me and see me wherever, this 88-year-old lady, been there, done that. But I've always had the will to learn, and I was always told you could be who you want to be, and those that know me know. And I don't want this idea of someone calling me, well, you're a D. You sound like an R. I had that told when I was on the station by these two jerks that had come here when Hatcher came here. They weren't even born or raised in Gary, and telling me that I'm not a true, honest to God Democrat. I'm not a nothing. That's when you have to sign up. And I signed up at 18, and I believed. But now I'm neither. I'm an American. I'm more American than I am anything. I don't see myself as a party affiliate of nothing. And we're going to have to rise up. They've got more outsiders in the country than we are. So we have to declare who we are. We're Americans. We are Yankees. We're the real deal. I don't want anybody to tell me what I am. When you go to vote, that you have to get a card that they give you the card, the D or the R, and the other one, whatever it is, and you have to show it before you go behind the screen. That's not constitutional. That isn't correct. That was created by man to control the minds of the public, and I resent that. We have to vote as Americans. That's why we don't have these candidates have to have millions and millions of dollars to run for office. Like now you've got everybody running, and here's Hillary by herself with that old man. Then you got all these guys over here spending, mortgaging their homes, mortgaging their lives that they'll never pay off. Why? We have to run the country as a country. You get the best of the best, and you put them up one time. You don't have to go through primaries. You don't have to go through all of that. You just start to learn who they are. And then guess what? Then we are a nation under God, invincible. Because we have more outsiders from foreign countries in this country than we have honest to God Americans. That's why I say I'm a first generation American. But I say it with pride. But there are people that have been living here for years and years and years. They've never declared their citizenry to America. Never. They're still walking around here. And they don't like this, they don't like that. Go back where you came from. Why didn't you straighten that all out where the hell you come from? You got all these good ideas for here, but you didn't have them when you were over there. Like they're chasing them all over with these knapsacks and these little babies. They're leaving their own homeland, like strolling nomads. And now you're going to bring them here. The president says, we have a right to open the doors to have them come here. We have our own here that are starving. They don't have jobs because they left this country because of the taxes. They're over there making cars in China for peanuts. Then you come over here and you're paying $40,000, $12,000, whatever. Where were the unions? There are no unions over there. What the hell do you need these union leaders here for? We need leaders to create good atmosphere for companies, yes. But not that you have to pay for a union fee to be able to have a job. That's bullshit. That's why no one has a job. And then when the factory closes and you've been paying dues to a union for maybe 30 years, then they close. Did you go to the union and say, I want my money now that you've had for 30 years to protect my rights to be able to have a factory job? What do they do then? Nada. Nothing. Because they're leaving the country. There's no profit here. The taxes that they're being taxed now, they say it's not worth me to keep this going. I can't. And then you have to pay for health insurance, for the teeth insurance, for the this insurance, for the that insurance, which was a beautiful plan. So as long as you worked, your health was protected by the company. Guess what? That's not happening today. And God forbid that you have cancer or something that's of long duration or very expensive. They shut you out. Although the president said you could keep your doctor, you could keep this, you could keep. Really? Guess what? If you can afford it. When you can't afford it, you're getting nada, zilch, nothing. These doctors that have given years and years and years of study to save our lives, to keep us healthy, to see to it that we are able to live. Now, they're being taxed. They're being told what to do. You can't do this, you can't do that. Budget. They don't have lives anymore either. All the years waiting to retire so they could enjoy life and go live in that little cabin they have somewhere or a home they have in California or something. They can't afford it. Mm-mm. So the hours in the mills will probably be shortened, so it's part-time. So they'll do it. And Lakshmi, that owns every steel mill there is in the United States and in the world, he's sitting there like the pharaoh. You know, the big guy in India, Egypt, the pharaoh. That's him. You think he's going to lose money on the fact that he's going to continue to pay for pension and all that? Baloney. You know, baloney. Baloney's baloney. The people today are so complacent and so in the throes of allowing themselves to be used, to be led, and to be disenfranchised that America is no longer, they keep saying, the politicians, they're saying, well, we don't have any, we're not respected outside of this country anymore. Nobody thinks we're the power. No, that's true. But you allowed it. You've been sitting there in Congress and you allowed it. You were there as the sheep herder of the flock, and we're the sheep. And you allowed it. You were too busy with your own personal lives with the money that is afforded you for a part-time job. Someone called me and said, what do you mean? Congress is it's a part-time job. Through that job as a congressman, they now have businesses beyond your dreams. Like the guy that's over there, that's the head guy with the pompadour hair, that is the chief that's negotiating. That guy was nothing. But he married wealth, and now he's a multi-billionaire, millionaire. Yeah. He married very well. So he can afford, he's walking around. And he's telling them, the Democrats, I'm really concerned about us. We're really going to think about you. Yeah, really? Has he ever lived in Gary, Indiana? Did he ever live on 11th Avenue? Does he come out here in Calumet Township? What does he know? Oh, to be able to come over here, he'd hold his nose and he'd be walking carefully where he stepped. But he's supposed to be there with the big guys with the turbans and all that. He's negotiating peace, right? He's a joke. When he comes there, he's a joke. Those foreign powers over there know they got America tied. All they need to do now is make a ribbon and put it in a box. Because the general public doesn't care. They're busy watching their television and their everything. They don't know what's going on until they find out one day that you don't belong as part of the American entity here. Mm-mm. And being first generation, coming up when I was constantly being told, you have to learn, you have to be, and you have to learn to respect and be respected so that you will one day be something. I'm not something, I'm just me. I'm not here to be something, I'm just me. Content to be just me. But to be able to sit here and have the opportunity to do this because this young man said he just walked over. I haven't seen him for a couple of days, and he says, "You ready?" I says, "Not really." I said, "Let me go put on a sweater," because I was outside raking leaves that I had piles. If you remember the last conversation, I made them and then it snowed, and I said, "Oh God, they're going to be in my driveway." But now that it's like springtime in the Rockies, I was able to get them off the driveway. So I dumped them across the street by the grace of God. Then he says, "Are you ready?" And I says, "For what?" He says, "I'm going to put you back on." I says, "Oh, really?" I says, "Well, wait a minute. Let me go up and get a sweater." So it's what you call impromptu again. But all of you that are viewing, and if you're viewing with interest, and if you want to believe in what I'm saying, I don't say it with any disrespect. I don't say it with any vengeance. I do not say it with any prejudices, because going to Frable School, those that are still as old as I, we didn't know what it was to be prejudiced, but there were outsiders that came on later when Hatcher came in. Then they said Frable was this and Frable was that, and that Kenny, that nut that started the strike, he ended up being absolutely disenfranchised. He was a nut. But there were people that followed him and created a big disturbance at Frable School. There was a black eye for Frable at that time with that nut. But people follow. There are more people that follow than lead. And that was something I was cursed with, I think. Cursed, maybe not cursed or endowed. Either way, I was never one to be led. Never. It used to drive my mother crazy. Because I would never, if it didn't feel right, didn't sound right, didn't taste right, I had no part of it. I never conformed. So I don't ask for any excuses. I am who I am because God created me to be who I am. So I'm not going against it. Bad, good, or indifferent, I'm His, and so be it as you are. Each and every one of you are created by God to be somebody. You weren't created there to be a follower. You were there to be and make a difference. Remember that. Each and every one of you have a special talent, a special uniqueness that no one else has. Because God did not make fools. He did not make people of no worth. He made people with endowments that only you could expose yourselves to and believe in and extend them to others. Remember that old adage, God created man. But then again, He had to create a woman. Remember, I mentioned that because man was very lonely walking around up there. There was something missing. And then guess what? God finally learned something. The God Almighty learned something, that He had to make someone to have a companion. And that's when He created Eve. And that's how the world bounces. Without us, man would be nothing. The world would be nothing because we bear the children to populate the world. Without us, man would be nada, zilch, zero. And women that allow themselves to be abused, to be mistreated, you are the most ignorant human being that God created because He made you to be somebody. But gave you everything to put together, but you didn't know how to use it. And you don't choose to use it. And so by the grace of God, if my husband were here today, maybe he'd smile and say, well, that's good. But he always felt that I would be hurt. I would be in some way insulted. And he didn't see that. I says, I can handle that. I have no problem with that. I can take care of myself. I've done that since I was a little kid. And he finally got used to the idea that whatever I did or whatever, I could handle it. And so here I am. Now this young man, ironically, has the same name because I said, I can't say that name because it doesn't jive with who you are. But he encouraged me to do this spontaneous. And today of all days, came here to do a chore for me. And then he says, are you ready to get back on there? Because now I'm going to put you on. I says, not really. He says, go ahead. He says, I'll be here. So I said, okay. Went up, got a sweater. Here I am. And my only wish is that whatever it is that you hear me say, whatever my words of encouragement, which that's what it is, not to put anybody down. God forbid. That is not my role in life. Spread the word around to listen. So, there's a lady on there. Her name is Valia, Velia, V as in Victor, Elia, Tanif, who used to be an Andino. It took me a long time to be able to. For a year, I couldn't write Tanif. I was writing Andino. And Jim would say, that's not your name anymore. I said, oh, I got to get used to it. But encourage people to listen, because I'm the real deal, darlings. There's no crap about what I have to say, and it's for the good. Whatever I say about Washington, whatever I say about government, is so that we could learn to make it better. You don't get into the subject to knock it and have it disintegrate. No, you build on a mistake. If you make a mistake, that doesn't mean you can't correct it. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's a learning process. And at this time in my life, I have learned a great deal. I have made a lot of mistakes, but I've gone back and tried to correct them. And in a family, sometimes it doesn't work. I did learn that. You have your children, and you pray to God that at the time of your life, they're going to appreciate what you did and all the sacrifices when they were children, so that as you get older, that they're going to continue to be a part of your life, because now is the payoff. In the sense, I remember when you took care of me. I remember when you did this for me. I remember when you gave me opportunity to go to Europe. I appreciate when you let me go to military school. I appreciate when you helped me with this, because I couldn't buy a refrigerator and all that. But guess what, folks? Don't wait for it to return, because it doesn't always work. Because now they're adults. They don't appreciate. It isn't they don't appreciate. They don't think of the past and the growing process of when they were kids. All the sacrifices, all the times that you went out of your way in every way to give them something that you never had. And sometimes you couldn't figure how you did it, but you did it. And then now comes the payoff that due to their spouses or whatever it is, they're turned off and they don't choose to communicate with you. That to me is a sin, but it is what it is, because Mother Nature doesn't make perfection, and God did not make perfection. He just gave us life, opportunities, and ability to be. But if you didn't take advantage, and if you didn't try to do the deal, that's why you have criminals, that's why you have murders, that's why you have everything that's going on in the front headlines. They don't tell you good things, it's always bad things. Is that we don't know how to utilize the abilities that He's given us as human beings. Because He is our Father, He is our Creator, He is our everything. And that's why in these European countries and now in these Middle Eastern countries, when they shout out His name, Allah, but it's as they murder somebody, as they burn, as they pillage, as they desecrate. God did not create that nation or those people in those countries to do that in His name. And when they say His name, it's like saying that He is sanctioning what you're doing. When they yell His name, as they cut someone's throat, and you shout His name, God did not give you the power to do that. So don't use His name. That's using His name in vain and in evil and in treachery. And you will pay for it. That's something I want to leave with you. Don't ever use God's name in vain, because it'll come back and bite you. And it is what it is. So again, I'm looking for the young man. Lon! I don't know how to turn this off. I have to learn how to do this. Well, anyway, again, if there's someone out there that is interested in what I say and what I do, the number is 980-2395. Give me a call. because then I could do it with a little more finesse. Because I have class, but I'm not a tech. I can do 10,000 things, but this I don't know how to do. And he came by here because he says, no, you should keep on going. And I'm like giving him a signal here that it's time for me to shove off. But keep me tuned. Let me hear from you. And let me know that some of this stuff is, excuse me, some of this is of value because the process of learning is growing. I'm getting tired. And, Lon, hello, Jim. Excuse me. I'm going to leave you for a while. I've got to find someone because I don't know how to cut this off. But I wish you well. And come this next year, which is going to be very eventful, there are going to be massive changes in our lives, all of us, throughout the world. And in this election, it's going to be a storm. This election is going to be a storm. But I beg of you, each and every one of you, those that have never voted, those that have always said, I don't want to vote because they're all a bunch of crooks. That's why they get in, because you don't vote. The crooks would never win if the good people would get together and vote. You would ease them right out. They would be gone, never to return, ever. And we need this. In this election, it's the most important election that this world has ever had. And I mean the world, because whatever happens in the United States and whoever gets elected in this election is going to have the power to change the world. And I know it, I feel it, I pray that I'm around to see it, because whoever gets in this election will be an American citizen who has lived here, who has gone to school here, who has played in the grounds and the schoolyards, not someone that just came in and then professed to be one of us. He was not, and he is not, period. So take that to the church, take it to the bank. You don't like it, tough, but that's what I have to say, because that's why right now it doesn't talk about the conditions of poverty, it doesn't talk about the conditions that no one has jobs, that the factories are leaving here. It's Roseland. Oh, we're wonderful. Everything is wonderful. And everybody's happy. Everybody's doing well. But we have to worry about the weather and how we're going to treat the weather. Nobody controls the weather. The only weather that we control is an umbrella, and a door and a roof controls the weather, and a furnace when it's cold. So don't give me this crap about the environment and the weather. Don't start that. That's talking to someone that's stupid. Little kids know better than that. But then are you going to sit there and look mesmerized and talk about the environment in front of all the leaders of the world? You've got to be crazy, or think we are. Well, I know for one I'm not. So, hello. I've got to find somebody, so excuse me for a moment. Hello. Come shut this off. Oh. Come on. Keep this off. Got to shut it up. See. I hope that it's, let me just finish it off. Guess what? I had to go get my my producer and my director. He's not allowed to smoke in the house, so he's out there with his smoke, and so consequently, I had to go chase him because that cigarette to him is he can't do without that cigarette, and I chastised him about that because he's young, and my father died of throat cancer because he was a constant cigarette smoker.
That's all.
I care about everybody, but again, I pray God and to all the saints in the heavens and all of you out there that I didn't offend you. And if I did, it wasn't with cause and it wasn't with any predestined cause. I don't do that. I'm giving you my heart, my thoughts, and whatever it is that God has instilled in my head so that I could bring it out to you. And that's who it is. It's God. I'm his instrument to whatever it is I'm saying, bad, good, or indifferent. So, those of you who are listening to this, spread the word. This is America. I don't want to say the United States of America because it isn't. We're not united. We're not anything. That's BS. But we have to become America for all of us. And the Hispanics have to learn. Please, dear God, do what Michelle and Miss Gray said to me. You can be anything you want to be, and we are here to teach you so that you learn to be good citizens and good people and have a future. Do not let these politicians tell you to go in there carte blanche, you don't understand, and just press one letter that they teach you because they're not giving you the opportunity to be anything. And Marco Rubio is an example. He came from a family of people that they escaped poverty in Cuba to come here. And look what he did with his life. This young man is running for president of the United States. He's first generation. And he's a man of stature and in this country. So be careful who you vote for, learn who you vote for, and trust the fact that we're all a nation, indivisible, under God, but liberty and justice for all. I'm out of here. Bye.